Well, this last part of the test, we're going to be trying to do story problems, okay, for the test. And so we're going to see um, how we can solve that. Remember, I like to do it by creating a diagram that represents the problem and then using that diagram to solve it. So Priya was busy studying this week and she ran for 7 fewer miles than last week, but she also ran 9 times as far as Elena ran this week, right? And Elena only had time to run 4 miles this week, right? And so how can we solve this problem? And there are multiple ways to think about how to solve this problem. But if you try to draw this out, like the best way I could think of it is that you have 9 boxes, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm going to lose this. I'm going to use this anyway, so I'm going to talk about that. But you have 9 boxes, which are 4 each. So all of these boxes are 4 each. Why? Because she runs 4. Elena runs 4 miles, right? But then Priya runs 9 times as much as that. So each of these boxes represents what Elena ran. But then Priya runs 4 times that. So of course, this chunk is 36, right? You can figure that out. But then she grew 7 fewer than last week. So there's still 7 more you'd have to add to that to get the grand total of what she actually ran, which 36 plus 7 would actually be 43. So this is a tough problem, but you can reason it out with a diagram. You don't even need to necessarily write an equation. The other way you can think about it, right, is that you say she ran 9 times as much as Elena, and that is what Priya ran this week. But Priya this week also ran what she ran last week, which I'll call X, minus 7, right? And I also know that Elena ran 4 miles. So that means this right here, this E, is 4. So then 9 times 4, 36. And then you're back to that. So you can kind of come up with an equation anyways if you need to. But there's a lot of ways to solve it if you think about it. But the way they solved it, I'm going to, by the way, write what I was talking about. So this could be a 4, right? So 9 times 4, because this is 4, which makes this 36. But then that's 36, right? And now you have an equation that you can use. All you have to realize is you have to add 7 to both sides so that you can get rid of the 7. And if you add 7 to both sides, you end up this ends up being back to my 43. So a lot of way of reasoning it out, this problem. But the way they did it is it like this. 1/9 of x minus 7 equals 7. And she solved the equation by multiplying each side by 9 and then adding 7 to each side. How does that solution compare to yours? Well, I didn't even create a 2-step equation. I just created a 1-step equation or a diagram to solve it, right? But you could do it this way too, because if you think about it, right, X here represents what she ran last week, but she ran 7 less than that. And then and this week, so that's what this chunk is, but that's only 1/9 of that is what actually was run by Elena, which happens to be 4. So that was a really interesting equation they came up with here to represent the story, right? 4, which is what Elena ran, is 1/9 of what was run by Priya this week, which was 7 less than what she ran last week. So tough problem. And I gave this as an example. The test is probably not going to be this hard because if you can then handle something like this, and whatever you can do in the test is going to be a lot easier. So let's try to do 25 here.